Hey, what's up guys, ImpulseEvan here, and today I'm bringing you guys another video. In this video we're going to be reacting to the newest FNAF game theory, FNAF Don't Trust Gregory. And this is technically my first video of 2022 because, well, unless you live somewhere like Australia or somewhere where my Mangle video came out today, or January 1st. Depends what time zone you live in. But from my perspective, this is my first video of 2022. So, we're just gonna hop right into it. FNAF Don't Trust Gregory. And, yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is, what if this ends up being exactly the same as I want my Gregory theory video to be about? Hopefully it's not, but if it is, will I still make the video? We'll see. But, yeah. I probably still will. But, yeah. Let's just get into it.
After years of waiting, Five Nights at Freddy's security breach has finally launched, and with it, we now have a whole load of mysteries to discuss. What's the deal with the Vanny therapy tapes? Why is this room from Sister location in Pizzaplex? Who is the best animatronic, and why is it Music Man? There are a lot of things to solve in this massive game, as lore hides behind every pirate poster and inside every arcade cabinet. But the theory
I haven't done the pirate thing yet. I need to do that.
Addressing the one character that we spend a lot of time with, but don't actually see all that much. And that's our main character of Security Breach, Gregory. Yep, in a franchise full of dead kids, I want to focus on the first ever living child we've seen in the main story of the games. Except for in the Fruity Maze minigame, but we all know that she ends up dead. Who is Gregory? What is Gregory?
Good question.
And why is he such a cold-hearted savage to Roxy and the rest of the animatronic gang?
I'm so mad that you're driving without my permission. Oh my gosh! Gregory is brutal!
My friends, the answers to those questions will recontextualize everything that you thought you knew about this series. So let's begin. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that can't help but stuff its face with FNAF lore like Chica stuffs her face with pizza and garbage. I guess at this point it kind of applies to us too. Anyway, if you want to stuff your YouTube feed with FNAF videos, then hit that subscribe button right now, because today starts what I expect to be a 3-part series into the many unsolved mysteries of Security Breach. I mean, on the surface, the game seems pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah,
Survive
only
being
one
trapped
part
in a mall
out
for
yet.
one night. Looks like the new team forgot to read the title of the franchise. That's nothing. That's easy. Once you start looking into secret rooms, secret tapes, secret endings, secret minigames, and actually bother to read all the emails and item descriptions, you learn that there is a lot.
I'm getting spoiled for Balloon World,
Stuff
aren't
that
I?
looks both
I haven't done that yet.
The series that came before, and
I'll probably do another video on Security Breach, just like going through the secrets that I haven't gone through yet. Like maybe the last 2 endings that I haven't gotten yet, like the last 2 leave endings, I think they are, and also like the pirate thing and the Balloon World thing. So yeah.
Into what is coming next. Stuff that, quite frankly, I'm still working on piecing together. This is a big game with lots of places to hide things. But today, I want to focus on a mystery that I do feel like I have a pretty solid handle on. The relationship between Gregory and Glamrock Freddy. What's the deal with this random kid, and why is a killer animatronic suddenly trying to help him? Like seriously, the game kicks off with this incredible cutscene. Everyone is living their best 80s-tastic lives on stage before Freddy suddenly glitches out and
actually
to Gregory.
I'm between Mike and Bite Victim and Bite Victim and Bite Victim, so.
Cut to Gregory just being there, I guess. It is one of the weirdest, most jarring intros to a game ever. And then from that point forward, we're just expected to assume that everything is perfectly normal. No explanations necessary. So I'm here to give you that explanation, because I strongly suspect that this boy is not a boy, and this robot is not a robot, and that the story of their relationship is one that's trying to make amends for one of the earliest and most pivotal points from this entire franchise. To begin, let's establish what we do know about Gregory in order to piece together the rest. So what does the game offer us in terms of his backstory? Nothing. First and foremost, we know that he's pretty much off the radar. At the start of the game, Freddy does a quick scan only to realize
your guest profile is unknown to me.
Similarly, when security guard Vanessa is chatting it up with Freddy, we hear this part of their conversation.
That is great news. He can be returned to his parents.
He can't. Turns out, there's no record of him.
Yep.
Clearly,
He doesn't
Gregory
exist.
is not a guest at the Pizzaplex. It also seems like he has nowhere else to go. In the game's bad ending, unlocked by just leaving the building at 6 a.m., we see Gregory winding up in an alleyway sleeping in a cardboard box. He appears to be homeless. He's an orphan. This then explains a few other things that we see around the Pizzaplex. In a couple of hidden locations around the building, we find little dens that are filled with drawings, plushies, and beds. The most notable one being the one behind the daycare center. Gregory seems to be living inside the Pizzaplex, which would explain his lack of a guest pass. We can't even be sure that his name is Gregory. In the game's opening scene, Gregory has no issues speaking to Freddy.
Will you shut up?
Who said that?
I did.
However, once Freddy asks him for his name, he stutters.
I'm Gregory.
Why would he stutter on his name when
Yep.
he was clearly
I noticed
fine
that too,
answering
yeah.
everything else just seconds before? So, what? Is that it? Gregory's just some homeless kid that sets up shop in the Pizzaplex and happens to get wrapped up in Afton and Vanny's plans? Yeah, right. Of course not. Nothing in this franchise is ever an accident. Take a look at Gregory here. Notice anything familiar? Dark eyes, brown hair with a piece fallen between his eyes, shorts, a shirt with 2 stripes across the middle. Ladies and gentlemen, Gregory is none other than the crying child. Don't believe me? Early on, we get this weird moment when Freddy suddenly stops what he's doing and says this.
I feel you are broken.
We all know that the language in
You're
this
broken
franchise is
in
never
the
chosen by
thingy,
accident.
you know.
Everything is meticulously crafted.
In
So
the
is it a
FNAF 4.
coincidence then that the word broken is only used one other time in the FNAF series to describe a child? That iconic FNAF 4.
I didn't really think about
crying
that,
child
but
is
as soon as he
broken.
mentioned that, I was like,
You're
oh yeah.
broken. We're still your friends. I will put you back together. The fact that both Crying Child and Gregory look alike and are considered to be broken screams of a connection existing between these two.
Yeah,
Him
for
being
sure.
the crying child would also explain why he has nowhere else to go. His dad is an undead zombie living inside a yellow bunny suit, and his mom is MIA. There's also
Dead.
lines like this.
Your parents want you to follow me. Your family is looking for you. Let me take you to your parents.
On one hand, this just sounds like Chica spouting out some generic security protocol.
Again, I noticed that too.
Other
I mentioned
hand,
that in my live
if
stream. I was like,
Gregory is the crying
my family's
child,
looking
Chica's
for me.
lines here
What?
take on a whole new meaning because she is quite literally bringing him to his family, his father living in the basement, William Afton. But obviously, there's one big problem with this, one that I'm sure all of you are screaming at your monitors or typing aggressively.
He
down.
died 50 years ago.
Child is dead. He died in FNAF 4 when his older brother Michael picked him up to be chomped. And not only did he die, his soul then went on to be one of the 2 spirits possessing Golden Freddy, the other being the vengeful spirit Cassidy, before he was finally put to rest by the puppet in the happiest day ending of FNAF 3. This kid is well and truly gone. He is removed from the franchise. He is one of the few cards that are officially off the lore table. So why then do I
Is he?
dare invoke his name here? Because Gregory is a robot, a rebuilt version of the crying child. Flame shields activate because it's time for everyone's
Good.
favorite segment. Matt
But also
Matthews,
bad
the
for me,
lore
'cause
from
that's my
multiple FNAF
theory.
books, try and explain parts of the game that don't make sense. I'll try to make this as quick and painless for all of us as possible. In the books, children having tragic premature deaths and then being rebuilt as robots by their grieving fathers is something that happens a lot. Like, if I had a nickel for every time this plot line showed up, I'd have like 3 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened 3 times. In the original novel trilogy, the whole big
Yeah.
twist of that was that
What's the
Charlie,
second one,
daughter
though?
of Henry Emily, died as a kid.
I'm guessing
And
the
her
third one
father
he's just
put
gonna
her
say it's
back
Gregory,
together by
but-
building robotic versions
Or maybe
of her,
he's just
each
talking
one
about the
representing
books.
a
I don't know.
different stage of her growing up development. Then again, in
I only
Fazbear
remember the
Frights,
Charlie
we have
one.
the character of Eleanor, who is strongly
Oh, yeah, that's true,
implied to
too.
have been built as a replacement daughter, as well as Dr. Telbert, who developed Remnant as a way to preserve his sick and dying daughter. And all of this is without me even going into the numerous stories where children get swapped out for robots and or Fazgoo, which, once it has your DNA, basically creates a clone of you. If that's the future of the franchise, we're going down some weird paths, my friends. Anyway, to summarize, there's evidence in the wider canon that FNAF 4's lines about the crying child being broken and needing to be put back together were meant to be much more literal than any of us first suspected. But we don't even have to go that far. Within Security Breach itself, there
not
is
really.
plenty of evidence to suggest that Gregory isn't exactly what he seems. When Vanny spots you and starts to get closer, your vision gets a CRT effect. effect. Basically,
Damn it, he noticed that too.
TV monitors used to get. And it's worth remembering that since this is a first-person game, that is representing your vision. So
Yeah,
why
exactly.
are your eyes suddenly behaving like cameras on the fritz? Unless, you know, they are cameras on the fritz. Later in the game, once we defeat
Cameras on the
we can
fritz
take out
grave.
her eyes and upgrade Freddy. Our Fazwatch tells us that, quote, Roxy sees things differently than others. Sometimes she'll stare and talk to the other bots through walls. She's able to see things that others can't, which allows us to see collectibles like secret CDs. In a way, she has a sort of X-ray vision, which is why when you first install him into Freddy, his comment really stands out.
How are your new eyes?
I am having a hard time adjusting. You look different to me.
It's almost like he was seeing Gregory.
I didn't
as a
actually
normal
notice that
child,
one,
But
yeah.
now that he has these new eyes, he's able to see through Gregory's skin and reveal something that he wasn't expecting, like, say, an animatronic endoskeleton. Also, Gregory can be inside
makes sense,
Freddy
yeah.
when he's inside the charging station.
Yeah, that was
So it
really
feels
weird to me too.
Like,
And he can also be
kinda
inside it
hop
by
out and
himself,
leave him to charge,
which
but
is
nope,
weird.
we pilot him inside of it and then sit there as he charges. Or could it be that those charging stations are as much for us as they are for him? Remember that secret den behind the daycare where we assumed Gregory's living? There's a strange amount of decommissioned and what appear to be salvaged security robots. Maybe for a kid who needs a robotic upgrade. The fact that there's no record of Gregory
not
would
sure about
also
that
make
one,
sense.
but
If he's an
okay.
animatronic, there wouldn't be records of him because he's not technically a human. It would also explain why Gregory has no parents. But maybe the biggest
Yeah,
point of
it's kinda
evidence
sad.
comes from the very beginning of the game, where during the opening cutscene we see Freddy glitch out. This sets him on a course of being good for the rest of the game. But what causes that glitch to happen in the first place?
That's a
Well,
very
by going
good
frame by
question.
frame, we can see that there's a security threat on the loose, and it looks to be a small child. What?
Huh, I didn't notice that at all.
Has to be.
Well,
Gregory
yeah,
is
for
the
sure,
threat
obviously.
here, a robot that poses a threat to Freddy's
Gregory
programming.
is
But
the security
why?
breach.
How? What would make sense about that? Well, to understand that connection, it's time to put a pin in Gregory and turn our attention over to
One's
Freddy.
left.
If you unlock the game's final secret ending, you end up going below the Pizzaplex, only to discover a former Freddy Fazbear location, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place.
FNAF
If
6.
that name doesn't mean anything to you, it shouldn't, really. Most of the restaurants in the series go unnamed. But while the name might not mean anything, the layout should be a familiar one. One large rectangular...
Excuse me? In the FNAF 6 cutscenes, we literally see Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. It is
stage with
FNAF 6.
lights on the trim and big speakers on either side and a smaller semicircle stage right next to it. It's from FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. Notice the stools that are placed right in front, the checkered floor. We even have purple striped tablecloths and blue, green, and red plates exactly like
I didn't
we
actually
saw
notice that
in
part. I was
Pizzeria
just like, oh,
Simulator.
Pizza
As a
Place.
refresher, this is
That's
the
FNAF
location
6.
that Henry lured all of the roaming animatronics to in order to burn them to the ground one final time.
Although for one of you,
You know, I could be wrong, but I think in one of Freddy Pop Collector's videos on useless FNAF facts, he mentioned, oh yeah, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place is FNAF 6. Doesn't matter. Bye. That's it. But now that it actually isn't a useless fact, it's just kind of lore relevant.
the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole.
Interesting that he said
Don't keep
pit of
the
hell,
devil
and then he
in
literally
your
goes
mind.
down
Said
into a
here,
pit.
Seems like Henry's plan didn't quite work as expected.
Yeah,
we still
that's kinda
see
sad.
Pretty much everyone that he tried to torch away. They're all alive and well and thriving underground. Springtrap is there. Molten Freddy is there as this big black blob. And if you look inside that blob, you can even see Baby. And heck, even the puppet. Kinda lessens the impact of that Savage Henry speech from FNAF 6, but whatever.
Hold up, am I the only one seeing a face right here? There's a face right here. Is that just me? I swear, that's so clear to me.
Anyway, the reason I bring this up, outside of it giving me a chance to remind everyone that I totally called something like this happening at the end of the last theory from a year ago, is that one character is notably absent here, Michael Afton, who we're reasonably sure was the guard working at the FNAF 6 location and the one who helped to burn it down.
And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be.
After being scooped, turning purple, and trying to undo his family's sins location by location, he went down with the ship and burned alongside his father and sister. Which means that presumably he should be here somewhere. And yet he's not. Unless, of course, he's taken on a new form. Say perhaps Glamrock Freddy. We know for a fact
Very
that Freddy's
possible.
been down here based on some of the lines.
I used to think that theory was really stupid, but then I was like, you know what? It's actually possible. It's actually pretty plausible. I think it's definitely possible. I'm still between it being Mike and the actual bite victim spirit, but I think Gregory definitely is a bite victim robot, but the spirit doesn't possess it. It's just a robot. I think the spirit could possess Glamrock Freddy or Mike. One of the two.
That he drops during the finale.
I know what this is. I have been here before.
Why are the tables the platforms that we walk on?
Choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused, but I can protect you.
So he's in a place where he can get possessed. We also hear that Freddy isn't acting like his normal self, saying,
I am not me.
and in yet another ending,
Yeah, it just
the
means he's
fire
possessed,
ending,
really.
Freddy is more than prepared to set the place ablaze, much like Michael Afton did to Fazbear Fright's.
Wait, when was
FNAF
that? Was
40.
that one of the endings that I didn't get yet?
And nothing says that clearer than the replica of Mike's room from Sister Location that's hiding inside the Pizzaplex. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, hidden inside the mall is the exact replica of Mike's living room from...
Is it a replica, though? Is it a replica? Is it a replica?
Sister Location, down to the TV, lamp, and basket of exotic butters.
Exotic
But here's the kicker. Over on Mike's wall is a coded message. One that was
That's not
solved
the
through an
kicker, let's be
incredible
honest.
team effort from Dawko and the rest of the FNAF subreddit. It reads as follows, quote, "Break and mend, I built the breath. They hunt now, drawn to life. Not real, still me. And frit and fraught with thought and zest, and guessed no blunt woes. Dodge, duck, flash, shoot, crawl, run, crush the vile ban. Cry not, try not, do not hold out hope. Your life, your aim will save those with soul." I feel like this is some sort of a poetry reading. Snaps, everyone. Snaps. Snaps. Yeah, man, cue the bongos. All right, basically, this is just a bunch of fancy talk, all relating to Mike's personal journey. The first line is all about breaking and repairing things, and in doing that, creating new life. In other words, Ennard and Baby. The rest is all about his commitment to try and stop the evil
Not really sure
animatronics
about
and
that.
try to save any of them with a soul left in their bodies. Now, does the
Especially
presence
since
of
that
this
happens
moment
later in the
necessarily mean
timeline.
that Mike is Freddy? No, but I do think it's telling that we're reminded of Mike's commitment to save everyone inside of a room that you're required to find alone in the dark.
Mike's goal in the series isn't to save the children, it's just to stop William, though. That's the thing.
I.e. without Glamrock Freddy hovering over your shoulders. Heck, during the finale, we even get this line from Glamrock Freddy.
My friends are here. They are so angry, confused.
He's talking about Molten Freddy, the spirits
Yeah.
trapped inside of the blob. It's very possible that those were indeed his friends captured and killed back in the day. Maybe William himself.
I feel like
struck back against the
Mike
kids
wasn't
that had
really
bullied
friends
his
with them,
youngest son. And now some of their spirits are trapped below the surface as part of the blob in this.
Are you trying to say that
restaurant.
bullies
Or
are
maybe
the
that's why
missing
Gregory
kids?
is so brutal to all of these animatronics. and
That doesn't
Freddy's
work,
lost
especially
that. They
under
killed him
MCI
back in
85.
1983, and now it's his turn to show the bullies no mercy by launching a go-kart at their face and ripping out their eyeballs. And meanwhile, Freddy is sad because they are quite literally his friends from when they were alive. But
Wait,
to me,
he's trying to
honestly,
say the
biggest
security
connection
breach
points between
animatronics
Mike and
are the
Glamrock
bullies?
Freddy are thematic. Their narrative. Mike has been moving to location
That
after
kinda
location
makes
to try
sense in
and
a
do
way,
his
but I
father's
don't think
horrible
there's
work.
the
This would
Glamrocks
just
are
be a
possessed at all.
continuation of that story as both Afton's return post-fire. And more importantly, it also completes the arc of the crying child and his older brother. Since accidentally killing his brother in FNAF 4, Michael's been trying to make amends. This would be quite literally their grand reunion. An older brother finally
Well,
able to
not
protect
really,
and
'cause
defend
FNAF
his
4
younger
was
sibling
kinda
in a way
that,
that
but
he
yeah, that
failed
works
to
too.
earlier in their lives. This is also why
Yeah,
Freddy's
that part makes
programming
sense,
would
yeah.
glitch out after he encounters Gregory in the opening cutscene. The soul of Mike, buried deep in Freddy's code, comes through upon sensing his brother again. It hotwires the system so that Michael Afton, in the body of Freddy, can defend his kid brother. And the Afton story doesn't stop there either. In part of the Pizzaplex, we find a family dinner scene made up of decommissioned staff robots. A father, a mother that kind of looks like Ballora, a daughter
Yep.
with rosy cheeks and orange pigtails, a son, and one with its head missing. The child whose head was bitten off in 1983. This is
course.
very clearly the Afton family. There is
course,
no
yeah.
doubt about that. The story continues in this game. In fact, I expect that's why the Save Vanny ending here is so important. If you manage to find and complete all the Princess Quest arcade cabinets hidden throughout the Pizzaplex, you get an ending where we are able to save Vanny from the control of Glitch. glitch trap. This is something that we predicted would be possible literally a year ago in a theory, but I bring this up not to pat myself on the back, but rather to call
Damn,
out
that
the
was a
final
year ago.
moment of this ending, where we see Gregory, Freddy, and Vanny
To Happy
all
Stay from
sitting
Ultimate
together
Custom
on a
Night.
hill.
Connected to
A
Happy
hill
Stay
that I
from
should
Ultimate
point out
Custom
is
Night.
oddly
Connected to
reminiscent of the
Happy
FNAF
Stay from
6
Ultimate Custom Night,
gravestone
please.
hill. It feels
It is,
meaningful,
yeah,
like
yeah.
all these characters have some sort of history. Why would Vanny be there otherwise? Unless this is meant to be the crying child, Michael, and maybe even Elizabeth. The Afton
I mean, Vanny
children,
isn't
the
Elizabeth,
three
but
kids
it
who
could be a
literally had their
representation.
lives stolen by the evil deeds of their father. Finally reunited, finally able to share a moment of peace on this hill. After all, Vanessa does have green eyes and blonde hair, just like
That is
someone
true,
else
yeah.
that we know from the series. But
That is
that's
something I noted,
probably
like,
a theory
a while
that's
ago.
best saved for another day. Long story short here, Gregory isn't just any kid. He's not just the crying child either. He's the rebuilt version of the crying child, an animatronic designed to fill the void left by the death of Afton's youngest son, literally put back together piece by piece. And Mike, meanwhile, is also back, glammed out this time, continuing to make amends for his past by reuniting with the brother that he accidentally killed as a kid and protecting him in a way that he never could before. Which then leaves us with a question: who's Vanny? How does she fit into
Vanessa.
all this? Why does she fit into all this?
Pretty
And why does
factually.
Robot Gregory glitch out each and every time she gets close? That, my theorists, will have to wait for the next episode, because this episode's running long, and honestly, I need more time to think through the answers. So in the meantime, theorists, remember, hit that subscribe
I'm also
button
doing
so
a
you don't
Vanny
miss
theory,
how all
though.
these things fit together. You're not going to want to miss that next episode, mostly because, you know, if you do, the FNAF lore will no longer make any sense to you whatsoever. Plus, hitting the subscribe button's free. And let's
I don't
be
think it
honest,
ever
at this
did.
point, you owe it to yourself to see how it all plays out. But for now, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Alright, that was a good video. I agreed with quite a bit of it. I'm still mixed on the Mike and Bite victim being Glamrock Freddy, whichever one it would be. Vanny obviously isn't Elizabeth, but they do look similar, and it could just be a representation of it. And like I was saying, I was like, please connect it to Happy Stay from Ultimate Custom Night, because remember in Ultimate Custom Night, when you go down into the pond, you see a version of Happiest Day, right? Which is Happiest Day in the files, and you see like a dude with his arms around two children, and it seems to be Mike with his arms around Bite Victim and Elizabeth, with Mike in the middle, Bite Victim on the left, and Elizabeth on the right. That's what it seems like, and that makes sense considering the hill ending when they're in that exact position. But yeah, I want to end the video there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. ImpulseEvan out, and peace.